G'day and welcome back. This is part 2 of the terrible twins. They're not identical twins. This one's a Mullard and this one's a Philips. In part 1 I looked at this Mullard radio and it's working really well now. It had a problem with the valve and it's had a short in the local oscillator, which was a little bit hard to find. I'll take the Mullard off the bench. This week we'll have a look at the Philips. I've got the Philips on the bench. I can't even open this shutter, so that turns the radio on and off. I'll flip it over, we'll have a look in the back. As with the other one, there's just two little screws on the back. You loosen those off, they're captive. And you lift the back up. There's a cover that goes on the bottom here. I think I took that off in Sydney. Now I did power this up in Sydney. It, like the other one, didn't work. And if you didn't see part 1, a gentleman had contacted me and I'd agreed to meet him in Sydney and try and get these going. They didn't work. He said it needed an alignment. I think he was suggesting that it wasn't working, so an alignment might fix it. But that was not the case with the last one, and it's probably not the case with this one. As I said earlier, I can't get that shutter to work at the front, so I can't put power on it. I'll take it out of the case. It'll probably end up coming out of the case anyway. I'll do that, I'll set it up, and we'll have a look and see what it's doing. To get it out of the case, there's 2 screws there, although one's missing there. But you need to get the handle off before you can get to the screws. So you just undo the screw. It's got a threaded sleeve in there, and the screw goes inside it. And in this case, just the one screw to undo. There's 2 wires in the back there that's connecting the aerial to the loop antenna housed inside the Bakelite ends. I'll unsolder those and I'll come back. There's 2 screws on the end of the chassis. Take them out and it'll come away. It has a little nut plate here. You've got to hang on to that, and the screw screws into a thread inside the little plate. So saves you trying to get a nut around the corner there, I guess. And same deal down this end. Up at this end, there's a pin that engages in the shutter. You've got to clear that, so just pull it over a little bit. And this end needs to come out first, allegedly. See how we go. Yikes. It just really doesn't want to come out. Okay, I'll come back in a second. There it goes, I think. Just before I put power on, I'll just have a look around. Everything seems pretty good. He's done a reasonably good job of all this stuff. It's very neat. He did say there was a floating capacitor in the bottom there. There it is there. It's got 2 others on the end there. He's probably tried to make up the value, I guess. Anyway, I'm not going to worry about that. If it's working, I'll leave it there. Otherwise, everything looks okay. It has had power on it. He's had power on it. I've had power on it. So I'll put some power on. We'll see what it does. Right, it's all set up. I've got an antenna on it. This is the switch that operates by the flap on the front, or the shutter. So I'll put it on, see what happens. And just looking at the watts there, that's not what the other one was doing. The other one went, I don't know, up not sort of 15 or something. Yeah, that's not doing much at all there. It's been running for about a minute and there's not much happening. There's no sound whatsoever. It's 12 watts. I can't see a glow in that rectifier there, but it is getting warm. It would appear that the valve string's not powered. I'd have an open filament there. I've got my multimeter set up. I'll just check the voltages on the filament. Nothing there. Nothing there. This one here. Nothing there either. I think that one. Nothing there. This looks like a filament. Oh, 67. So that's valve 3. So valve 3's got it. Right, I've got the valve here. We'll check it and see if we've got continuity, and it's not. So the filament is open on that valve. I think it's a 1T4. I'll see if I've got another one. I have a new valve here. I'll just check that this is not shorted to ground and it took the filament out. No, it seems alright. Right, let's try again. Okay, the rectifier's warmed up. We've got 15.5 watts there. Pretty sure it was higher than that the last time. There is no sound anywhere. I'll check some voltages to the plates and screen. This is the plate of the RF valve. It should be 95, 104, a little bit high. This is the screen, that's 31.9. This one's the plate, it's supposed to be 90 or 106. 95 I think. It's 42 for the screen. This one over here, that's the plate I think. 106. And 233, yeah. There's a valve around here. I'll try and measure the filament voltage. Yeah, 1.2. And this is the end of the line I think. And that's got 0. So there's filament power all the way through. Spun the radio around, see if I could get to the contacts on the back there. But what I notice is this valve's a 1R5. It should be a 1S5. 1R5 is a frequency converter, or otherwise known as a mixer. So that's the wrong valve. I have another valve here. I'll replace that. That's the 1S5. I checked all the valves in the valve tester. I was going to check this one, so I thought I might as well do the lot, and they're all okay. So let's put some power on again and listen to some music. Some power on again. It's warmed up and still there's no sound at all. There's no crackling, there's nothing. Here's the volume control. If I probe that, you're getting a buzz. So the amp stage is doing something. This is the valve base for the IF amp. That should be the grid. We're getting something, not much. This is the plate. Once again, we're not getting much. It's very low. And the volume's on full. That's the output of the IF amp. And that's something. Still not fantastic. Right, I did a little bit of playing around and I found I can actually hear a station. I've tuned in the station. I think the amplifier section's working. It's working to some sort of degree anyway. I've got the antenna on. As I said, I can hear the station. And I've got my signal tracer here. So we'll try signal tracing. I'll just see if I can follow the signal. So signal's coming in here, goes through the RF stage. There's the mixer. Comes out there. You're not getting anything. Oh, I can hear it there. There it is. And also a lot of congestion. That's there. So that's the first IF transformer. This is where it comes out. It's not coming out.
Thanks so much.
Going in, not coming out. It's not up here either. So it's going in there, it's coming out there. Now I know there's voltage here, so that means that coil's okay. I wonder what that secondary's doing in there. You can hear it, but I think it's coming from there. I'll turn it off, we'll see what that coil's doing. I have my multimeter on ohms there. Let's check that. That's the secondary. I'll just go across there and see what resistance we got. And what do we got there? 34 meg. No way. Here's the other one. This is the second IF. Should be something similar. I'd expect to be in ohms, not meg. Not meg ohms anyway. Yeah, 12, nearly 13. 34 meg. That secondary has a higher resistance somewhere. Here's the IF transformer I was just looking at, and it has a clip over the top, so you spring the clip off. I guess you unsolder it, it should come out. Before I take this out, I think I'll reflow the solders just to see if it picks up whatever. I don't know what it's doing. I think I'm wasting my time, but anyway, I'll give it a go. Let's see what we've got now. 32 meg. Alright, I'll desolder it. I've desoldered it. There's a clip there. I'll see if it'll come out. There it is. Here's the red dot. There's a bit of wax and stuff around there. I've cleaned as much solder off there as I can, and it looks like the wires actually come out and then wrap around here from inside. So I'll just try it with the meter again. Maybe I've resoldered it. Alright, it's these two here. 5th, 14, 14 and a half. These are the primaries. Yeah, that's 12 as well. So you'd expect it to be around about that. To get the case off, I have to loosen this red stuff here. There. clean that off, and then they've crimped it in the corners here. So I'll just do all this off camera. I can't do it with the cameras there. I'll have to try and uncrimp it somehow and hopefully slide that off. You'll laugh when you see this. I've dismantled it completely, and here's a little coil, and I started to unwind it, and there's a black piece there you can see, and it just broke off there. So it looks like the black spot corrosion has got into it. Now I only wound off maybe like 2 inches, 3 inches. If I can pick that up, maybe I can save it. It'll change the coil a little bit. I don't know that it'll make that much difference. Anyway, what I'll do is try and unwind a bit and reattach it, and see if I can do it that way. All right, I've rewound it. I used the original bit of wire. I managed to join it, and I've soldered it, and I think you can see it there. Where is it? It's gone. I think that's it there. I've just stuck it out the side there so that it doesn't short out with anything, and that should be all right out there. So all I've got to do now is reassemble it. It's pretty simple actually. That just sits in there. That wire goes around here. This wire goes through a little blue collar, which is that one. Goes through a little blue collar and wraps around in here. So that goes over there. And then this is the capacitor, and that just sits in there, joins onto the end there, and sticks up the top there. So then fill it up with wax and you're home. So I'll do all that. Fingers crossed it'll work. I'll show you that it actually does work. I got one end of the wire in the little clip there, and if I put that there, we get about 15 ohms, which is what it should have been. I'm really happy with that. I'll reassemble it all. It's all back together. I've tried to fill it with wax. There's a hole at the top here, so it just melt wax in there for about 5 minutes, and it's pretty much filled up. So I'll put it back in. We'll see if it's going to work. This is the IF transformer I just worked on. It's back in, it's soldered up, it's ready to go. I've got my signal generator on, and it's got 455 on it. And I'll have to adjust these because I've moved these little trimmers. So first, let's put some power on. It's just warming up now, and with a bit of luck, we should hear the IF frequency. There it is. Oh, okay. Turn that down a little. These IF transformers always break when you're trying to adjust them, and now that I know they're full of wax, I'll just heat them slightly, and then I should be able to adjust it easily. Let's have a go at this one. Not doing much there. Not doing much at all. I might have to put the meter on to adjust that one. But anyway, the radio is working. I've taken the signal generator off, and I'll just clip the aerial on. Sounds good. We'll see if we can get anything. Get to a place where actual communication can occur, where there's information that can assist us in prioritizing and so on. Now, what sort of person
becomes a call center operator. I think it points more towards, you know, friends and whatever. That was a joke. Yeah, Ronnie, the horse named after the great Shane.
Doesn't sound very clear.
If you're looking for a value bet in the race, this is your play was terrific in the literary state.
But it is working. So, success with that. That was good. I'll connect the signal generator up. I'll just play with that off camera until I get it to work. Or maybe I need to screw it in further. I readjusted this IF transformer. I had to wind it a fair way out to get it to peak, and it peaked well, it was fine, but something's changed where the little capacitor's changed its capacitance, or the way I laid it in, perhaps something's changed. Anyway, it's sticking up a fair bit. It looks a bit unusual, but it peaked perfectly, so I'm happy to leave it like that. I've been playing around a little bit. The radio's working all right. It's powered up.
So much else besides, it's time for screen.
So it's working quite well. I changed a couple of resistors when I was working on that IF transformer. I changed this capacitor. It's the same electrolytic capacitor. It had two little ones off the side of it just to try and make up the value, but they're not needed. I've taken them off. I've laid it down here, soldered it to the chassis here, and made a little connection here. So it looks really neat. It's hot glued to the chassis, so it's not going anywhere. The issue earlier was that it was distorted. I replaced this valve here, and I also replaced the output valve, and that's gone. It's clear now, so it's working really well. The volume is going up and down, so I retensioned the sockets here. I cleaned the pins, I cleaned the sockets out as well, the same as I did in the Mullard, and now it's perfect. It doesn't move at all, it doesn't crackle, so that's really good. I think it's working really well. It's going to go back in the case, but before I do, just make sure that the pointer is in the right place. In the Mullard, I put it in the case, and then I had to take it out again to adjust the pointer. So I'll adjust the pointer first this time, and I'll put it in the case. I have the signal generator running. It's on 600 kilohertz. I've put a new dial string on. The old one was too thick, and it bunched up when it went around the spindle, the drive spindle. So I put a thinner one on. ZL here is 600 kilohertz, and I need to just tune that in. That's not too far out. So I just need to push that along a little bit. That's not bad. A tiny bit more maybe. It's good enough. The local oscillator pattern at the back is sealed from the factory, so I'm happy to just line that up there, and then we just need to adjust the top end. So I'll run this down to 3AK, which is 1500. Set it up, we'll find it. Oh wow, oh, it's a long way away. This is a local oscillator trimmer, so I'll just find that signal again. There it is. I'll pull it slightly towards the way I want to go. I should have to wind this in. There we go. I shall do it by hand. It's too hard. I'll just line it up on OK there. And just fine adjust this. Okay, that'll do. Now this is the RF. This is the RF stage trimmer. Just trim that up. Okay, that's it. This needs to be adjusted in the case. I just wanted to get it roughly in position. I'll put it in the case and then I can just fine tune it. I have the radio back in the case, and I just need to recheck that alignment, make sure it hasn't changed when it's in the case. And also I needed to do the antenna alignment, which obviously I can't do until it's in the case. I have my loop antenna here, and I've got the generator on 600. I just want to make sure now that ZL hasn't moved, or the pointer hasn't moved, and I'll just tune it to ZL. That's about it there. Right, that's spot on. It's still okay. It's still exactly where it should be. Change the generator to 1500, and we'll just wind it up to 1500. I've got that centered exactly on AK, and it has moved a little bit, so I'll just trim these And up a bit more. Alright, that one's moved a little bit. I'll do this one as well. And I just adjusted that slightly. So that's fine. There's also an antenna trimmer. I've got to close the case over and do it through a little access hole in the case. Here's the antenna trimmer. It's inside the bakelite case, and if we close the lid, there's a little gap that you can put a screwdriver through to adjust it. The case is closed up. I put the screwdriver in the little trimmer, and I have the loop antenna there. So I should be able to just twiddle it and we'll get maximum volume. There's a volume control. Turn it up a little bit. Just a matter of... yeah. I gave up with the screwdriver. I'm using one of these tuning tools. I'll just turn it up again. We'll try again. Just kept falling off with the screwdriver. I think that's about it there. Just do a very quick test.
I think it's called out on the weekend. It's like a country festival thing. I think we did play it once, and then nobody turned up. Nobody ever turns up to our shows.
This is a Magic Round, Magic Special Multi, thanks to Woodsy.
Because it's not just those of us who lived.
Disadvantage 3, 1, 2 and 6.
We head across to the third.
Yeah, so working as well as any radio does in here. Now I apologise, I did a lot of stuff off camera. This radio is so hard to work on the chassis. It had to go in different rotations and upside down. It was just so hard to get camera work done, so in the end I just sort of did most of it off camera, and I apologise for that, but it was necessary in this case. Well, here they are, the terrible twins. Not so terrible anymore. Both are working, and they're both working very well. They gave me more trouble than I expected. I didn't expect them to give me so much work. It was supposed to be an alignment, but as we saw, it took a bit more than that. I have to say the owner did a good job of replacing the components. He didn't get the radio to work, but the work he did was pretty good. And that's always a problem, following up on someone that's done work and you don't know if it's right or not. But there was no issues. A couple of valves in the wrong place, but I do that all the time anyway. So now both radios are working really well.
Ordered in the Monto region about 10 o'clock and an aftershock this morning.
Yeah, they're working well. I hope you enjoyed following along in part 1 and part 2 of this series, and I hope you can join me next time for my next exciting radio adventure.